Hello, good morning, and thank you for tuning back in again. Today, we're going to go through a couple of things regarding Horsforth Test Centre. So I'm going to do a little bit of driving around Horsforth to explain a couple of things to you. Also, I'd like you to note that where we are, the difference between this test centre and Hare Hills, there are a couple of differences. The first thing you need to realise when you are driving your car in Horsforth is everything is done textbook. Everything is done as you would expect. So what you learn with your instructor is what you will be delegating to your hands and feet, and it's what other people understand and what other people will be doing with you. When you are driving your car in Hare Hills, it's different. Everything is amalgamated. Everyone just makes do. Everyone just manages. And we all just put it together. Now, in terms of how it works in Hare Hills or Horsforth, the difference in Horsforth is the routes are longer. The driving standard that you're supposed to drive at is higher. You need to be aware of other road users. You need to understand how traffic flow works. You need to understand where people usually fail their test and why. I'm going to do approximately 10 minutes worth of driving in this area. I'm going to go through a couple of sort of test fails so you understand what I'm doing, where I'm doing it, and where people usually go wrong. Now, the first thing I'd like you to understand is when your test starts here in Horsforth on Low Lane, he will first set up his sat-nav or GPS. When he sets the sat-nav up, especially if this is an early morning test or if you are the first test he's doing, what you'll find is the GPS lock won't happen. So he will give you advice straight away. He will say to you, follow my instructions until the sat-nav comes in, kicks in, or starts talking. So usually that would be if you are taking the second road on the right. The second road on the right is just after there's a red car you can see. You can also see the black coloured car, and now you can see the car approaching with the lights on. Where he is now, where that white shop is the second road on the right. And that road there is usually where, if it's going to go wrong, it is there, it will go wrong. So I'm going to give you an idea now, okay? So I've got my car ready to go. I've looked in my door mirrors and I can see a van on my right. So I'm not going to signal now. I can see there's no cars there. So I'm going to signal. I've done my observations. I'm going to move off and it's safe. So I'm going to take the next road on the right. So I check my mirrors. I signal right. And you'll notice that I'm very close to the line. And before I turn into that road, I make sure I can see, because you'll see as I turn in, there's a learner car coming down the road. And because the road bends to the right, you cannot see up the road if you do not turn at the correct time. Now, as I'm going up this road, you can see it's very, very busy. As in, you've got cars on either side. So the first thing you've got to establish where your stopping points are, where you would need to stop, or your holdback position as we call it. So you'd have to find that. You can see a car coming down the road. As we're going ahead on this road, you can see the speed limit's 20. I'm doing about 12 at the moment. So you can see these learner cars coming down the road. Now, as you're going along the road, you'll also find this is actually a bus route for a small local bus, what they call the shuttle service. You've got to watch out for the local bus. Now my speed is around 19. Now on some cars, it's easier to hold your speed, i.e. You've got cars with digital dashboards. When you've got a car with a dashboard with an analog, as in the normal sort of clocks, it's difficult to understand that. Now, I was going to stop here I was going to wait, but this car is now turning right, so it's reasonable for me to continue. Now at the end of this road, you would normally turn right. So as I'm going ahead on this road, as I'm going to the end of this road, I need to watch out for people cutting the corner and coming into this road. So I start my routine here, I check my mirrors and I signal right. I stay very close to this line. Now as I'm approaching, I can actually see from here if the road is clear, and I can see this black car coming along this road. Now when I turn right here, you'll see a blue car parked on the right hand side. You need to see that I've seen this car. So like now, I'm going to slow down. I'm actually going to wait here. Now why am I going to wait here? Well, there was nowhere for me to go if I went through. And now I'm looking in my right door mirror and I can look into my blind spot of the bonus. I'm following the road down. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to slide slightly to the right. The reason why I'm doing that is so I can see the cyclist now. And I'm going to move back to my side by looking in my mirrors first. I'm going to let this cyclist come through. But what I'm doing, I'm reducing my speed such. And he nodded at me, so that's his acknowledgement. Now, can you see the green grit bin at as I'm following the road ahead? Sorry, my phone went off for some. Whenever you don't want the phone going off, it goes off. So you can see the green grit bin. I'm looking at the black car and I'm looking for a reflection of a car as I'm going to the end of this road. Now this is a very tricky junction when you get into the end of. Why? Because it bends to the right and it's very compact. So I'm slowing down. The speed limit's 20 here for a reason. I can see a reflection in this silver car's doors. So if there was a car coming up the road, or I can see in the red one. Now here you'll be turning right at the end of this road. So you look in your mirrors, you come back to your side of the road, and then you straighten up with this line. All you do, you line up with the line and you can see it in your door mirror. And because I stopped properly, this van turned in. Now where I'm stopped, I'm going to turn right here. Now where I've stopped, I can actually see to the top of Low Lane. Now I'm looking between the trees and the houses. As I start turning, all I expect you to do once this video finishes, stop it, rewind it back, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. I can see the road is completely clear, and as I turn, you'll see it now, between the houses and the trees. That's where you need to be looking if you're turning right. Now I can see a white car coming along this road. The reason why I see it is because I found my line of travel. So I'm going along this road, and this again is a compact road. Keep your speed appropriate. Appropriate would be about 25. Forgive me, I know the camera is shaking. I've increased my speed to 27. That's a reasonable speed. 28, 29 is even good. But 21, 22 right now would be unreasonable. Why? The road is clear. And as you're coming back to park your car after your test, whether you pass or fail, he's going to ask you now to find a safe place to park on the left, which would be outside the test centre. So I'm going to park after these two learner cars. I look in my rear view mirror and see what's going on. I don't want to affect traffic flow much, but I'm going to reduce my speed because there's lots of cars coming, so I may need to even stop. It's safer to stop, really. And then I'm going to find a safe place to park. So I'm looking behind me, check my mirror, signal left, looking in my left door mirror again, reduce my car speed, keeping my left signal on, and I'll park here. And that is how you come back to the test centre, and that was from the right turn where Woodside Fisheries is. I'm now going to finish this off by going over 3 roundabouts. So I'm looking for a safe gap. I found the safe gap, check my right blind spot, I'm moving off. The camera will shake a little. I'm increasing my speed to a reasonable speed. Reasonable here, about 27, 28. And now I'm going to approach the roundabout. As I approach the roundabout, I'm going to take the second exit. Now this roundabout is quite busy. On one side you've got the ring road. On the other side you've got Low Lane. Low Lane isn't as busy as the ring road. Now here, the roundabout sign, you can see 2 small stripes and 2 thick stripes. The thick stripes is your dual carriageway. The thin stripes is this road. That's how you read a roundabout. It's not difficult to read. If you get stuck, send me a message, I'll give you a hand. So now we're at the roundabout and we're going to go ahead. So I look in my left door mirror and make sure I position my car correctly. So I'm here, I'm close to the line. I'm close to the curb, sorry. I'm going to follow the curb and I'm going to keep to the outside of the roundabout, the outskirts of the roundabout. And that's effectively how you go around a roundabout. So I've kept it to the left, I'm looking to my right. It's a very busy roundabout. I found my gap. I'm going to now check my mirrors, signal left here, keep my signal on, maintain a reasonable speed. Now cancel my signal. At this roundabout, I'm going to go ahead again. Now we can see the bus pulling in at the bus stop. Now I'm going to look to my right again. I'm not stopping the car, but my speed's around 10. I'm getting closer to the inner bit of the roundabout and keeping away from the junction. At the next roundabout, I'm going to take the first exit left. So now I check my mirrors, I signal left, I'm looking to my right, and I'm also looking for a bus on my left where this white car's appeared from. If I see the bus, I'm going to reduce my speed to less than 10 miles an hour. So you keep your speed appropriate here. So I'm doing 25 at the moment, but I'm looking at any reason why I would need to drop my speed. Now if the bus does appear, I will have to drop my speed. Here I'm going to go into a 20 zone. So I'm looking in my mirrors, looking in my right door mirror because I'm going to move to the right. The speed limit's changing to a 20. So keep your speed appropriate. Going 24 would constitute a test fail. 22 constitutes a test fail. So keep your speed reasonable. Doing 10 is unreasonable. So keep your speed appropriate. So now I'm looking at the zebra crossing. Looks good, looks clear, nobody's approaching, nobody's running towards it. I'll adjust my speed, I don't fly over it. Now I'm going to get to a roundabout, which I actually despise sometimes, to be fair. Now the reason why I don't like it is because you'll see in a second why. There's lots of arguments we have regarding this roundabout. Now, traffic flow is very busy from your right. From your left, it's not as busy, I've noticed, but from your right, it's very busy. Now the lane is like 1.5 lane. It's not even big enough for 2 cars. So try and keep on your side of the road. However, to go around the roundabout, you need to pull the car to the left as you go around. So the speed limit's come back to 30, so I'm going to increase my speed slightly. And we're going to turn right where he's going. So the roundabout, it's a closed junction. However, you can see reasonably well. So here, I'm going to straddle the line. I'm going to get the line under the middle of my car. Check my mirrors, signal right. Because the idea is I want to try and go around the roundabout. And I'm looking to my right and it's completely clear. I can see the Land Rover. And it's completely safe what I've done there. And what I did, I straddled the line. So I went over into the lane on the left. That's completely fine. You know, you can position left for a left turn. You can position right for a right turn without going over the roundabout. And it was unreasonable. It's quite fair and it's quite appropriate, and you will not fail your test for doing it the way I did it. At the next roundabout, we're going to go ahead. So I'm looking at what's going on. I need to give way to where the white van's coming out from. So I'm looking in my right door mirror. There's no problem. He doesn't look like he's turning. Now look in my right door mirror just in case somebody's flying over the roundabout, which is usually in some places. And now as I'm travelling down this road, I'm doing 28 miles an hour, very reasonable. I'm going to pick up speed as I'm going down the roundabout. Now if you've got a car that doesn't have auto recuperation, then you may need to brake around here, just a little, to drop your speed to about 26, because you'll go over 30. Or if you've got auto recuperation, apply a little bit more, and without braking you'll drop your speed to 28. Now I'm going to approach a roundabout that 99% of the people fail their test in Horsforth. When they approach this roundabout, it's telling you to reduce your speed. Well, what they do, they reduce it, but they can't see to their right. Now, what I'd advise you to do is pause here momentarily. I'm going to go ahead, and you'll hear me signal left. It's not necessary. but it works. Now, if you understand why it works, you're a good driver. And if you don't understand why it works, then you need better training. And that's how you deal with that roundabout. So there are your tips for today. Thank you very much for watching. Any questions, let me know. Thank you. Goodbye.